I want to give a shout out to our sponsors who have been sponsoring the show here. So first of all, if we can get them up on the screen, boom, boom, boom. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. Here we are. We're getting them up there. Don't worry. We're getting them up there. I'm back with my friend Paola, who's been here with me on the show before. And this is a very, very special episode because on this episode, I want to talk about a whole bunch of exciting things that well, first of all, let me go to the sponsors here. Here we have Samana Group. Now, if you see what these guys are building in Samana, it's like Bali meets Dominican Republic. You got to check it out. Go Reef Properties. They have properties in Punta Cana here. They have properties in Playa Nueva Romana. Tons of great properties. So these are two real estate groups, developers that are doing some really amazing things here in the Dominican Republic. Again, Samana Group, you really got to check out what they're doing in Samana. It looks amazing. And Gold Reef, they have beach access apartments here, Gold Reef City, and Playa Nueva Romana, where they have Oceans 4, which is one of my favorite golf courses here because you get 4 holes on the ocean. So this is a very special episode right now. And on this episode, I have Paola here once again. Hola, everybody. Hello. She was here on our first show, and she's Dominican, but she's been raised in the States. If you tell them a little bit about you, just so you know where you're coming from.
Well, I've been living here for a long time here in Punta Cana. Basically, since before we had a jumbo and nice streets, and I've been in sales for a while. I've lived in the U.S. and I've lived in Punta Cana, so I'm super excited to be here again. Thank you for having me back.
My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. And we have a joke. She works with me in the office, so we have a joke. It's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's a real thing, right? Like, she knows so much that it's like, I told her she should just open up her website, askpaola.com. You know, I use Ask Jeeves. For those of you guys that know, like, Ask Jeeves used to be a search engine because she knows so much stuff. If I need anything here, if I don't know it, I ask her. And when people ask me and I don't know it, I say, go to her. And she 99.9% of the time knows the answer. So, so that's why I have her on the show here, because today we're going to talk about some of the common scams that happen. A lot of them happen. I mean, they happen in the States. They happen a lot in Latin America. And it's a little bit different because, okay, so if you guys follow me and you've seen what happened in this last week, they try to extort me for money. And what I realize right now is that this is a very common thing that they're doing. The scam is not common. The scam's been going on for a while, and there are different variations of it. So what I want to do is I want to educate you guys, especially expats that might feel scared, because if you don't speak the language, if you don't understand what's going on, there was an article, you saw the article about the guy from Quebec that got scammed for 700,000 Canadian dollars. Now, I'll go into that scam, what happened to him, right? But I'll explain to you guys a little bit about what happened to me. So the way they do it is they took a picture, and on the top is like Nuria. She's like one of these people, like, you know, these like denuncia people in the Dominican Republic. Alofoki, who has a show like this, or like like, you know, like farandula they call it, or whatever, farandula, whatever. It's like just like, you know, like talk shows with all the reggaetoneros and all that kind of stuff. And then they who else was it? Mantequilla.
About Mantequilla.
Right. Mantequilla is one of these like scam pyramid guys that's been in jail for like a year or 2 years right now. And they just put a collage of photos. They put you on the bottom. They put these like scam immobiliaria. They do all these different things. And what they do is they'll put it on a fake page, right? So they open up like an old man, and I can tell by the menu on the restaurant, like it was from Napoli, from Italy. Right. You could actually, Paola caught that. She looked at the photo, zoomed in, we searched the name.
We looked for details. The FBI got nothing on us, man.
We're like investigators, right? So what happened was that they do a page where they put up 3 photos. They find a person to scam, like they found me, and then what they do after that is they'll send you a link that they publish with your photo with all those people, right? And then they'll say, like, they'll start putting it up in groups and saying, you scam me, you know who I am, you know what you did, you know. Now, first of all, I don't sell properties, my team does. So anybody that says that I scammed them, I don't actually sell. I always have my team members do everything. I just manage my company. So anybody who knows me knows how I do my business. Right there, you know. Number 2, I got 30 years. I don't scam anybody. Then they were saying I'm a part of the kind of Bay Mafia or something like that. They accused me like in the message, right? And that's a beach club. It has nothing to do with anything, and I've been there 5 times, whatever. The whole point is that what they do is they start to put your stuff on Marketplace. They put it into like this condominium group and that condominium group. And you know what's a big problem is the administration of these groups. Because like I admin an expat group and I'm really on it. If you flag something and I see it, I'm like, oh, that's a scam, boom, blocked, taken, removed right away.
Right, but a lot of these Marketplace groups, it's automatic. They don't filter. The admins don't do anything.
Exactly. I mean, I went public with it. I had to go public with it because like a client that I have actually wrote to them, and they'll send you a screenshot. Be like, look, people are writing me. Do you want to stop this now? And what you say to them is like, oh, you want to come with lawyers to my office? You want to meet at the Fiscalia with, with the lawyers? No, you want to keep going. So you want to keep going. No, I just told you, if you have a problem with whatever, because they don't tell you what the problem is. They're accusing you of just being a scammer, and they want you to resolve it, right? Now, what happens is that there are groups like Comprovento, right? And these groups are not monitored. I actually looked at Comproventa Higüey, and what they did is like they post anonymously. They allow anonymous posts there, and they put up like this one girl sleeping with everybody's husband, and they put pictures of the girl, and the girl's responding back, and they're defaming her all over. Part of the problem with Facebook is that to remove a post that's about you, even I did the shake the phone and I reported, I have a denuncia, I went to the police, I did actually file the report, right? And they won't take it down.
No, it takes a while. Facebook has a very difficult administration monitoring process, and they just don't take it down. But the problem is what you say, the groups, they have admins, but they don't do anything. And that's a little bit, I mean, it's just Facebook, but at the same time, it's not just Facebook, because like you said, they're defaming somebody. That's something different. You can go to the police for that.
Right. When I went live with what happened with me, because I was like, I'm not paying anybody. I didn't do nothing wrong. And even if I did, let's go to court. I don't care. So as we did this, excuse me, as I did and went live, a lot of people reached out to me, and there were like, especially in the real estate business, because obviously we know that here in the Dominican Republic, we hear about scams all the time in real estate and in business. So they use that fear that even if you didn't do something wrong, you want to make it go away. You give them $100, $500, whatever it is, because people don't want to ruin their reputation. One Dominican broker told me that they ruined his rep for like a year doing that, because they'll put it up on my girlfriend from Santo Domingo. Her cousin was like, hey, I saw something with Mario. I had people from Higüey calling me up and everything. Everybody who knows me knows already. I'm a very public person, so like I'm here with you guys talking right now. But people get scared when that happens. I've had brokers that responded to when I went live with it, and they said, I didn't know that I can do a denuncia. So I'll tell you what I learned after that, because I went and I filed a report, and they have a DICAN, which is like a group, like it's a cybersecurity police department group here for things like this. But here's what the issue is. They can do stuff once you pay the guys. Or if you say, yeah, I'm going to meet your representative to give them money, then boom, you can catch them like that. What I did is I told them to fuck off. Oops, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. I told them F off, and and I blocked them after I got all the information and everything for the police report, right? And they're like, did you give them any money? I was like, no. They were like, okay, because, it's an anonymous profile, and they can kind of track it, but when there was no money stolen, it's not really like, it's not a federal case, as I would say in the States. You know what I mean?
Right. And this is a very common scam. And the thing is, most people, Mario, they're not as cool as you were, that you took your time to think about it. But you have to be suspicious of everything, and take the time to analyze the situation, because even if you were to send him money, like let's say that one broker that you mentioned, if you start giving them money, that's another reason for them to take more money from you. It's just a slippery slope. The only thing you can do is block them.
Exactly. And normally, if it was something, because this is not so I'll explain to you guys. That's what I want to explain on the show. The different kinds of scams that I've seen here over the years, right? Now, excuse me. If it was a personal thing, like just they dated, I wouldn't care. But when they started putting it in groups of like the different condominiums, I'm like, wait a minute, because not everyone's smart enough to understand that it's a fake profile. I can go in 1 second and I can tell it's a profile. It's an old Italian man here. Dominican dudes is writing to me in Spanish and English. Like nothing makes sense. They don't want to. Exactly.
No pictures, no friends, no interactions. It was obviously fake.
Exactly. And I want to explain to you guys how things work here, right? When you do have a problem with somebody, right? They can't defame you like that. It has to always comes from a fake profile. Anytime you see somebody talking bad about somebody like that and wild accusations that make no sense, it's fake, and I'll explain to you why. I have a problem with you, broker, business. First, I reach out to you and I say, hey, I want the money, you owe me this, you did this to me, I want this back, or I need you to fix this problem. No. Then the attorneys get in contact with you. And if you still don't want to do it, then they do, notificación. They notify you that they intend to sue, and then they take you to court. And when they do the denuncia, with that, at least somebody can say, hey, look, I have a denuncia. This person doesn't want to fix the thing with me. This is what's going on. I can't right now, even if, let's say, somebody like a mechanic right now, right? Which happened, scam me out of $1,000, let's say, right? I can't go online and say, this mechanic is a scam artist, he's a thief, he stole $1,000. At that point, even if he did do that, I am defaming him because I haven't filed charges. I haven't put a case against him, which I'm legally supposed to do. So why am I defaming him? So anytime you guys see somebody, a random profile that you can't tell where the person is, where they work, who they are, it's just some 2-3 photos or whatever, it's fake. And that's not the first time that it's happened to me, right? And another time, another popular scam that they do here, for those of you guys that are dating, right? Single guys, you're out talking to girls on Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, Bumble, whatever you're doing, right? I'm going to tell you another scam that happens here. They did it to me one time. I was single, and some girl started talking to me on Facebook. She's like, "Oh, what's your WhatsApp?" On the message, all right, cool. I give the WhatsApp, and so you're talking like, "Hey, how you doing?" And whatever, just regular stuff, right? And then I get a call one night. I'm home. I'm having a couple of beers. I get a call, and I look at my phone, and I answered the video llamada, right? The video call on WhatsApp, and it was a porno, right? But you could tell it was a phone on top of a phone shooting it. Does that make sense? Because they were looking to get a reaction. When I saw that, I was like, what? And they did catch a snapshot, and I was like, what? And I just shut it off. I was drinking. I'm like, God, this is stupid. So I blocked it or whatever the case is. So then you get a number that calls you. They went to my Facebook. They grabbed a bunch. That's why I have my friends private on Facebook, right? Which should be able to do on Instagram as well, but you can't because social media does not protect us at all. Just so you guys know, these platforms do not protect you. They make it easy for the scam artists, in my opinion. So what they did at that time, I had my friends on Facebook open. So what they do is they go and they're like, I'm gonna send this to all of your friends. What do? They grab they do a collage, right? They did a photo of me when I did this on the phone like that when I answered it. They grabbed they put a photo of a person masturbating, and it was funny. It was hilarious because you could tell it was like a dark-skinned person with like big fingernails and everything, and then clearly, and then they found the picture of me with my daughter, but they didn't know it was my daughter, and they were like, "Yeah, you're talking to minors and you date minors, and we're gonna send this all your friends if you don't give us money or if you don't work it out with us." And I was like, "I don't care, go ahead." I started laughing when I saw it because I knew what it was, but they didn't, because they didn't know it was like the kid in there is my daughter. You know what I mean? She was like 13, 14 at that time or whatever, and you just block them and that's it. They go away. It's happened to other friends of mine, right, where they're like on dating apps, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Yeah, you're messing around with the wrong girl," and they'll send like a picture of like a narco with a phone, like a gun or whatever, and they'll be like, "You in the wrong place if you don't work this out right now." Right. And then I said that to a friend of mine. I was like, "Do you think the guy's gonna send you a picture of him with a machine gun that's coming after you?" Like, "Hi, look, it's me. I'm coming to kill you. Here's my photo. Hi," from WhatsApp, So that's a common scam when you're dating people here. Like if you're online, you'll meet a girl on Tinder, and you'll be like, "Oh, yeah, here's my WhatsApp, and let's talk." Next thing you know, they'll accuse you of talking to a minor, and they'll get you for money. They did that with Rochi, I think, or whatever. Rochi got caught up in a whole bunch of stuff.
That's
like
a very common scam all over the world, and they get you like that. Like they take pictures and they appeal to lack of being cool for 1 second. Because what did you do when you saw that? You're like, "This is clearly not me."
I blocked it right off the bat.
Exactly. That's the only thing you can do.
And when it happened to my boy, I did the same thing. When I saw my boy, I was like, "Yo," it was a Dominican number with a Colombian-looking like guy with a machine gun. I'm like, "Yo, bro," right? I'm like, "Yo, bro," I'm like, "Come on, they scamming right now. Just block." I was like, "Pay them no mind." But that's a very, very common scam. There was. I'm trying to think of which girl it was. I don't know if it was the one that the whole thing happened with Rochi, but so. A common scam I've seen for those of you guys that are in these beach towns, where if you're messing around with hookers, right, you've got to be careful, like Sosua, Cabarete, and Boca Chica. A common scam that I saw from the beginning since I've been coming here is they have these girls, right, and they're underage, but if you look at them, you think they're like in their mid-20s. They're like tattooed, they're smoking cigarettes, they're in the bars, drinking. So normally, right, like if you meet a person in the bar, you figure they're of age, because you're not going to see somebody smoking tatted up in a bar and they're a minor, right? Like if I'm in New York, I know somebody's 21 and over if they're, or in the States, right? Here, they're 18 and over, whatever the case may be. So here's how I've seen the scam work. These girls go, they meet you while you're on vacation here, right? You think you found a cool hooker and whatever the case may be. You have relations with her, and then she's like, "By the way, my cedula was fake and I'm a minor." And if you don't have anything to prove that, how old were you? And then she said, "I'm 20 something," and she's 30 something, whatever, and she sent you the cedula, and you're like, no, I got all this right here. And then you're not afraid. They'll be like, "I'm a minor, so if you don't give me money, I'm going to the police." That's a huge scam in like the beach towns, because they know how to get the expats that go there looking for sex tourism, looking for hookers and stuff like that. When I used to own a small apartment in Sosua, there was a guy who got caught like that, right? So this guy, what happened to him was and I saw the girl, because obviously the neighbors talk, everybody talked when it happened. He was like a big tatted guy or whatever, and he had this little young like shorty, like like a little shorty, right? But she looked like she was probably like in her early 20s. She was tatted, like she looked massively hood. This girl even took him to the house and everything like that. Then they extorted him for money. Then after they extorted him for money, they got him locked up. He lost his apartment because I think he had to pay off the family and everything like that. They got him for his whole apartment. Wow. Yeah. So that's the thing for you guys that are out there dating. Be very, very careful. Always ask for a cedula, ask how old the person is or whatever, because you'll see somebody and you'll think they're 25 and you don't know. I mean, like my ex-wife, she's probably like in her 38 now and probably it looks like 21 now. You know what I mean? Like, they're right, like, right. I mean, do I look like a man? No. But I mean, a lot of people don't know that I'm almost 50 years old, you know? So people are like, no, get out of here. Yeah. So things are not the way they look. So that's something you have to be careful. I know somebody here, a local person, right, that had a hardware store. And there was a girl upstairs that lived with her mom, and she built herself a house. And here's how the scam worked, right? Same thing, underage girl, but she looked like she was in her early 20s, you know, developed and everything. And she would sleep with like military guys, with like colonels and stuff like that. And then she would be like, by the way, I'm underage and I know you don't want to mess up your stuff in your bit, you know, what do you call it, in the military, you know, or police, whatever. You don't want to do that. So just pay me off and everything will go away and you won't have any problem. She bought land and built herself a house pulling that scam. And my boy told me that because he used to own the place and he was like, yeah, man, this girl, like, yo, she made so much money doing that. And the families a lot of times are in on this, obviously. You know, it's like, let's do it. Yeah. It is, and that's something people here have to, because it's the same kind of scam that happens a lot of the times, right? Like, so it's the same thing. And when it comes to that, if the girl is underage in the dating scene that, you know, I've seen in the beach towns, you're screwed in that case. Yeah, if you don't have something to show that she said you a fake cedula or told you she was a fake age or whatever, you're screwed in that. But what I've seen, so let's talk about the Canadian guy, what happened, right? The Canadian guy, from what I understand, because it was in Francais, but I had everybody translate it for me. So the guy comes down here, meets regular lady, whatever, right? And obviously they have relations, and then she's like, I'm pregnant. And from what I understand, I guess obviously we know abortions are illegal here. She got him for $40,000 to do the abortion. It's all over Quebec now. It's all over the news. This happened last Thursday, right? So as this was happening to me, that came out in the news and people sent it to me. And then they kept milking him for money. They kept saying, well, I had an abortion. It's illegal. You're responsible. The police are looking for you. Don't go to the airport. Don't go anywhere. I don't know how they did it. But you know, those of you guys that put it in my comments here, those of you guys that are from Quebec, because I think that's where it was from, they basically got the guy, right? And for about 700,000 Canadian dollars. Yeah, until that he gave him everything that he had, and then he just went back home and realized that he got scammed. There was never an abortion. There was never any of that.
Wow.
Yeah, because people, you know, it's like we were talking about that in the office the other day. I understand when you go to a different country, if you don't speak the language, if everything is, you know, different for you, everything is kind of like, you know, you're in a foreign country. It's like if I went right now to Thailand, I would be like, I wouldn't understand what the hell's going on. If I'm in Southeast Asia, I won't know what's going on. If I'm in Cape Town right now, I won't know what's going on because it's not my element, right? So you're out of your element, you don't speak the language maybe, and you run into a scam like that. It's very easy for people to get scammed like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a scammer does. They prey on vulnerable people and hoping, you know, targeting. Imagine how many guys she was probably talking to in that case, or how many people this Italian guy that was texting you, how many people he's reaching out, and there's gonna be one that's gonna be in that moment where you're just vulnerable to getting got.
It's a numbers game when they do scams, and a lot of the stuff here is from prisons. There was an article that came out about a week and a half ago where the police here are trying to put jammers to jam to jam the signals, because these guys are there on cell phones, and that's what they do. You're talking about nonstop. So if they go after 100 people online, create 100 profiles, that's all they do all day. They create profiles, they do what they have to do, and if they get 1 out of 100, all right, so you do it 1,000 times, you got 10 people, and you made your money. There you go. That's exactly how they do it. Yeah, so it's always kind of the same thing. Most of the time, unless it's the underage thing, but they never want to go to the police. So that's your first thing. Always offer to go. Let's go to the Fiscalia. Let's go to police. Put your querella there. Let's see what happens. That's a red flag right there. And most of the time, I would block right from the beginning. Don't be afraid to block, even because what they'll do is they'll like, and if they somehow got your WhatsApp, right? They didn't get mine on this one, but which is public because it's stupid. They pulled my page from my website, like my photo from my website, but they were asking me for my WhatsApp. But what happens is you'll have like one person, right? They'll WhatsApp and they'll say, "Yeah, man, you're a scammer," blah blah, blah. And somebody else will like, "Hey, I saw your information online. Everybody's saying you're a scammer, man. Why'd you do that?" And they'll have like 2-3 people call you, so you feel like people from are looking for you online and they're calling you and they're doing all this kind of stuff, and you'll be like, "Oh my God," and when people get nervous, but it's all a bunch of different, the same people from different numbers reaching out to you trying to scam you. Right. Another one is one of my friends from New York. She reached out to me. Her aunt from here got a cousin or something like that. I don't know, a family member from here got her, right? There's the other scam where people ask you, like, oh, I'm going to send you some money and just keep this much for yourself and send the rest over there because I don't have an account there, or whatever the case may be. That doesn't work. What happens is the way that scam is, right? It's like somebody steals like somebody's like information and they wire you the money. You take out the money, you give it to them, or you send it to another account. And then the person who originally was robbed reports the theft. The bank reverses the charges, and now you get stuck with what came into your account and went out of your account. So now you're responsible to pay that money back.
I've seen that, and I've seen that with checks too, where
Yep.
if I write you a check, the check will clear. Technically, you will get the money, but the money was never there. So usually, oftentimes this happens, and it's not necessarily people that you know, but somebody reaching out and telling you, oh, deposit this, and I will give you 25%. I've seen a lot of those in Facebook, like check,
Yep.
asking for you to cash checks for them.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, but they do it to, like, one of my friends got by her family member. The family member did that, and it was a fairly large amount into her business account in the States, because they were like, yeah, I got some merchandise coming in from China that we're importing.
And she offered to give her some of the card, like, for doing the transaction.
Yeah, and she was like, listen, we're family, don't worry about it. I just don't have a U.S. account, and I need you to send it to this Chinese account because I'm importing some goods to sell here in the Dominican Republic. And, it sounds legit. It's your family member saying it, right? Then you're like, okay, cool, so you're going to give me a little money. I'll send it over there. They send you the product, the importing or whatever. And no, and they got her stuck, and there was a criminal case in right now, and they're looking for the family member who ran from New York and is now in DR hiding from the charges. Yeah. So there's a lot of, like, if something, and I see it in the expat groups. The reason I bring this up, right? I've seen these things in some of the expat, not in my groups, but because I take it out right away. But I've seen this in the expat groups that I don't admin, where people are like, put up these things like, yo, find out how to do this. If you do this, I'll give you this. All these, like, if it's too good to be true, it doesn't work like that. We see that in real estate, where people are like, I don't want to deal with brokers. I only want to deal with direct. And some guy comes and is like, yeah, man, I got the scoop. This land that normally goes for $200 a square meter, I'm going to sell it to you for $50 a square meter because there's no broker involved. And then the people are like, yeah, I got a deal, until they figure they get scammed later on.
You get like Bugs Bunny with the money sign in your eyes, and then turns out that it was too good to be true.
And again, here, even when you're dealing with real estate, I've had people say that and it's happened, where people have lost land. There are people, like, I've seen people like Santiago, La Vega, where they were doing like land scams, right? That's why it's super important, no matter what, before you start any transaction, business transaction, right? Here, anywhere. I'm from New York, where everything's lawyered up. Find a good, trustworthy lawyer. And a cheap lawyer is not always going to be your best option. Que barato sale caro. A lot of times people here, they don't want to spend money on a lawyer.
For a deal.
You and I know, we have clients and they're like, I don't want a lawyer. And I'm just sitting there like, what do you mean you don't want a lawyer? Why would you not want a lawyer?
It makes no sense. You don't live here. Even if you live here, you don't speak the language. You don't know the ins and outs. Even like the tigueraje, you know how to get things moving. You need a lawyer.
You need a lawyer to check everything, because somebody said in one of the comments that we were going back and forth on a thread, the person said, oh, I've seen a lot of people lose their land. Like, here in Punta Cana I haven't, because most people here are smart enough to get a good lawyer. But when people don't hire a good lawyer to look over everything, to look over the title, to do a search of everything, to make sure everything, the owners are the right people that own it, because a lot of things can be forged. So people have to really, really understand that the scammers are working 25/8. They're out there 25/8 working. They're looking to scam you on social media. I actually pulled out of some of those like comprovento groups, because what I realized, they're so badly admin, and they find your profile there. So when they're out there looking for scammers, they find your profile in the list of like members.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. So they're looking in the members group, and they're like, okay, let's see. Okay, this person has photos here. And, when you're public like I am, if you have all your social media private, you have much less chance of that happening to you. But when you're talking about people that are in the real estate business, public people like myself, we have everything publicly. So it's like they're going to find you. They're going to see what projects you were in. And they'll be like, yeah, you know who I am. And they'll just pick a random project that they see you, that you put up a photo or a video at. And that's how they'll do it. That's how the extortion scam works,
Yeah, it's crazy. And they also get you through people that you know. I don't know if you remember, I think that's kind of stopped now, but people clicking on links via WhatsApp and via Facebook, and they're hacking into their accounts, which is not really hacking, it's you literally giving them access. Because if you didn't request the link, why would you click it?
So I'll tell you how, okay, so I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
right? So I got like that, right? I got, and I'm a pretty smart dude. But I'll tell you how it happened. They actually caught, I always say, no matter how slick you think you are, they're gonna catch you at the right moment, right? So here's how I got. This was about 4 years ago. Now, the person who was managing my social media at that time for my company was moving to Florida. He was moving to Miami, and we were cool. We talked all the time and everything, and we had just finished talking like earlier in the day or whatever. So I get a message from him because he got hacked, but obviously I didn't know that. So I get a message on my text, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm having a problem logging into my WhatsApp. Could you do me a favor? Just send me the pin. I need your help to do that." And because he was moving to Florida and he was changing numbers, he was changing some stuff, I got caught right at the last minute. I'm driving. I don't think anything. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, bro." And I send his WhatsApp the code. Or however I did it, right? Or the text back, I send the code. And next thing I know, boom, they lock me out. And then they'll take all your information from there. And they'll reach out to everybody. And they'll say things like, "Oh, yeah, I'm stuck here. My flight or whatever. I lost my wallet. Somebody stole my wallet. I need to get a flight. I need to do this. I need to do that." And then that's how they get you.
Did anybody of your contacts give them money?
No.
Okay, that's good. 'Cause
No.
I've seen that happen.
I don't ask for money. So if you ever get me reaching out to you via a message asking for money, that shit is not real.
You never know, because I know people that got, but not for big amounts of money, but like 5,000 pesos here, 3,000 pesos there. Because if I'm your friend and I'm telling you, and just like that, you were distracted, you're driving. I'm like, "Oh Mario, look, I'm stuck at the supermarket. I need 3,000 pesos." You're like, "Oh sure, let me deposit." You don't even think that they don't even think that the bank account isn't even under your name.
But
They
exactly.
prey on that.
And with me, it's weird if you're gonna get it like that, because the thing is, it's like, okay, if you speak in Spanish, who you gonna hit up? The English-speaking people, and if you speak in English to the Spanish-speaking people, they're gonna be like, "Wait, that's weird, right?" Because people know how I talk. I have a certain way how I write, how I talk. You'll know if it's me, because the way I'll be like, "Yo, hey, oh," like if I'm like, "Hello, I have lost my wallet. Bendiciones. I have lost my wallet. Can you please send me some money?" That's not me saying that. Y'all never say that, And another thing with me is, anybody who knows me knows that I send 500 voice messages a day. I barely ever write. And so if I'm writing to you and I'm not sending you voice notes, you know that I got hacked, because that's not me.
Exactly, and that's exactly how it is. Like, know who you're talking to, and ask people for voice notes or phone calls. And if somebody's asking you for money out of nowhere, give them a call. I remember one time I was trying to commission a piece of art from online, and the guy, he didn't have PayPal. It was Zelle or Venmo. So I texted my best friend. I'm like, "Hey, can you Venmo $25, $50 to this random account?" And she was like, "Can I call you?" And she called me right away, and she was like, "Are you asking me for money?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm asking you to Venmo $25 to this guy." And she's like, "Okay, I'll do it now." Because it's such an out-of-pocket request from me that she was just like, "No, I need to test this."
Right, because and I forgot when something else happened like that, because like I don't have some stuff. I have Venmo, but I don't have Zimo or Zemba. And I used to have, I have Zelle, but I don't have Vimo. And I used to have Cash App, but that doesn't work, whatever. And then from down here, most of the stuff doesn't work. And that's how they catch people down here, because a lot of the stuff doesn't work down here. It's like, "Hey, I need a favor, man. Can you Zelle somebody something for me? Look, Zelle them the money, and I'll drop off the money into your account here." And you Zelle them the money back in the States, but then the amount here gets bounced back because it was stolen or it just never cleared or anything like that. Yeah, so that's part of the scams here. So you guys have to be very, very careful. And even for the women, you can get caught with the Sankis. You can get caught with... Yeah, because the women here get caught all the time. Oh, his motorcycle broke, and his this is that.
His daughter is in the hospital.
Everybody has 5 grandmothers. And they do it all the time. So it's just, you have to really be careful. And online, especially if you guys are dating, if you ladies are dating out there, be very careful with the guys as well, because it's all coordinated. Like this is the people who scam in life, right? The scammers. These people, they spend their entire life doing this. So they do this 25/8. You basically, the only thing you can do is just walk away from people if it's, if you're getting sankied or scammed or whatever. But if it's online, you got to just block. And if you are a public person, if you're a business person, I suggest doing the same thing that I did, because it is going on now that I noticed that they're doing it to the real estate salespeople, because they know that we have a reputation, and they could do it to you. My girl was telling me there's a friend of hers who has like a big shop, like a clothing shop in Santo Domingo. So the way they were trying to get her is they're like, "We're going to start putting bad reviews saying that we pay you and you don't do the entregas." Yeah, and this person has a very good going business, right, where they do deliver clothes to people. You buy stuff online, they deliver it to you. So what ends up happening is, if whether it's true or not, well, it's not true, but obviously it's a scam, but meaning like if they put it out there and they put it up in Marketplace, they put it up everywhere, they put it up in Comproventa, Santo Domingo Este, Santo Domingo Norte, Distrito Nacional, and this person has a flourishing business, people see that. Most people don't even, nowadays, with the attention span people have, they don't even go in and they don't even look. Right? They don't even look to see if it's real, if it's not, the profile or anything like that. What they do is they're just like, oh, yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, I saw that this person did this. And I saw that you were mentioned in this bad thing or whatever. And it could ruin your reputation. It could ruin your business.
Right. And to add to that, it's do what you did. If you cannot go to the police or you don't want to go to the police, especially with your advice that if there's no money transaction, there's nothing they can do, get ahead of them. If somebody's is telling you that they're going to publish something that's not true, well, you publish it.
Right, that's what I did.
Exactly what you did. You publish it. Hey, like this is happening to me. Watch out. And now we all know.
Right, because they really try to gaslight you into everything, and they'll be like, you know what, like, you know, they could be very, if you don't know it's a scam, they could be very, and you start to reevaluate everything in your life. You're like, oh my God, did I now take the shopping cart back in Jumbo and it hit somebody's car? I don't know what happened, you know?
You said that you work at this 25/8, and there's a reason why scammers are called scam artists. They perfect their art, they perfect their craft, they know, they use psychological techniques, they try to pressure you, extort you, psychologically pressure you into doing something that normally you wouldn't do.
Right, and I don't want to scare people, but I want to be straight up, because here's the thing, right? Like, I didn't even think about this until it happened to me again now. The last time when it was the whole personal thing, I was like, oh, whatever, this was years ago. So now, when they did this in the business, so I published it live. My girlfriend was like, they did the same thing to me. They reached out to me, they said they were going to publish nude photos of me, and she was like, nobody had nude photos of me, so I didn't give a damn, and that's what it was. They got her. They got a friend of mine who owns a restaurant. They tried to do some extortion in his restaurant. So once I put it out there, so many people reached out to me and told me that at one point or another, people tried to online extort them, because it's not in person. Like, so just so you guys understand, right? You know, in some countries, you know, they knock on your door and you're getting extorted. They're like, hey, would you like to keep your place open? That's different. This is not like that here. This is about ruining your reputation online. This is about ruining your name and your business. This is the way they do it here. And it was really crazy to see how many people said, oh, that's nothing. Me too. Me too. Me too. And, you know, all over the country, because I know people all over the country, they were saying that. They were like, it happens all the time, especially if the more public you are, the more you're out there, or if you have enemies. You know, I had friends of mine who said, look, Mario, it could be the guys in jail, but it could be another broker that maybe doesn't like you and told some scammer or one of their friends to do it.
Getting creative, right?
Yeah, like mess with him.
You never know.
Right, because people, you know, when you have a business, right? When you're an established business and somebody threatens to put all these bad things about you, even though you didn't do anything wrong, you sit there and you're like, damn, you know, now you're on the defensive. You know, because some of my friends were like, and the cops were like, man, it happens to everybody. They didn't get you for any money. Who cares? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, I have a business, and not everybody, because people did write to them, and they would show me the screenshot, and I'm like, if people can't figure out that they're dealing with a fake profile, right? Then of course I have to do something about it. Of course I have to shut it down. And I also want to help people understand that all you have to do in 99% of the cases is ignore the people. Now, and if you're here, and if you're out there in the areas looking for ladies, and you're doing all of that stuff for you guys, if that's your slice of life, right? Understand, always get a copy of the cedula from the person that you're going to have relations with. Make sure, it doesn't matter if you meet this girl in a bar, it doesn't matter how old she looks like, doesn't matter if anything. She could be there smoking a cigar, drinking a bottle of whiskey. I've seen the scam. I've seen people lose apartments. I've seen people lose money. And, you know, and then this situation that happened now in Montreal, I'm sorry, in Quebec or whatever, that's like a new way to do it, right? Like, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant, and you need to pay for this, and you need to pay for that.
I don't even think it's new, because scammers have been scamming forever. This might be the first guy that
went public.
Brave enough to come out, because most people, if you get caught, you're not going to be talking about it. You're like, man, I was dumb. I gave them my banking account information.
Right, like you went down there, you hooked up with some chick, everything was cool, and now she's like, well, that's going to be $40,000. And you don't talk to people, right? You know, and a lot of the expat groups also, we allow anonymous posting, right? For stuff like that, I could understand some people wouldn't want. Hey, man, I was with this girl, and I think I got her. She said I got her knocked up, and she's asking me for this. What do you guys think, right? And it's hard, I know, because a lot of the comments are going to be like jerky comments, but they're going to be people that are going to help you. They're going to tell you what to do and how it works. And everything here, you guys have to understand, right? Like, if they threaten you, like they were threatening this guy, the police are going to come after you. No, it doesn't work like that. You'll know if the police are coming after you because these people, number one, will go file charges. There'll be an order of arrest. Or if they're suing you for some kind of money, you'll be notified, right? You'll have a notification. The alguacil will call you and be like, hey, I'm notifying you of this case and can come here. I mean, I had a case where I felt like it was an extortion case. They sued me for defamation for $700,000 and wanted to settle for 28.
Okay, that's a big jump.
You think? Right. I got sued because probably the lawyer was like, oh, we got us a gringo with a business here. All right. Yeah. No, listen, in the United States, besides that one time I told you where I signed a contract when I used to own a restaurant for the dishwasher, and they got me, for the dishwasher, you got to pay for the contract because even though you closed the business or whatever. But no, I've never had anybody, in all my years in New York, and I'm from the Rotten Apple. I mean, New York is a grimy place, and nobody's ever tried to hear. They try to sue me. So there's a guy who owns an a Caribbean website, right? There's a guy who owns a Caribbean website where he goes around and he reaches out to you guys to put up your properties on this Caribbean guy's website. He's all over the place. And he's from the States. It's registered in the States. And this guy, over somebody that I fired, this guy took a private conversation, passed it to the other person. He signed a witness affidavit, right? But this was with a proveedor. ¿Cómo se dice? I don't even know how to say proveedor in English anymore. A provider, right? So it was somebody I do business with, right? It's like, if you guys are getting delivery from one type of beer and you say the other beer sucks, I don't want that beer anymore. Don't talk to me about that beer. And then this beer company now takes that contract, takes that in writing, does it as a witness, goes to the other guys, and with them together, they sue you and try to get you to pay money. So they tried to get me for like $700,000. I was like, I must be like Príncipe Karim or somebody like that. What do you think I am, the Prince of Iran? Wow. Like, seriously, $700,000. When I saw that, I started laughing. And then at the end, they wanted to settle for $28,000. When they did that, my lawyer, my partner, who was like, he started laughing. He was like, before he was my partner, he was like, yeah, how about no? And then, of course, I went to trial here, and I won.
Of course, that's ridiculous.
It is, and the judge, said, "I'm sorry that you have to go through this, because this was never shooting." But because there's different processes here. I'm learning a lot about it. Owning a law firm, I'm learning how things work, and you can be dragged through the mud for a very long time here, even when you haven't done anything wrong. But then when other people do something wrong, it could take forever. Right now, I had a court case today. I don't know if you guys know, right? So I'll tell you how it happened. My Volvo. Some of you guys that follow me for a while know I have a Jeep. I had a BMW, and before that I had a Volvo. A dealer stole my car. So what happened was I was out of the country. I had changed cars, and my assistant at that time from my Santo Domingo office, I didn't want to go to the car dealership with my car because a gringo goes in there, they're gonna offer me $20 for a Volvo, right? So I had him go, and some guy he knew, de confianza, was like, no, I'm gonna leave it with this dealer de confianza. I think I was in Colombia and Panama when that happened. I'll leave it here. He's gonna sell it. The guy took about 2 to 3 months. Okay, car sold. I'm still waiting for my last payment 2 years later. And they did an order of arrest for him today, and I'm probably going to get the last payment now that there's an arrest order for him. And then
he doesn't want to get arrested.
But there's no interest being paid for this. 2 years.
Wow.
Of getting my money. I mean, think about it. I'm on my second car after this, right? And they're probably driving my car around, so if something happens, it registers my business.
Oh, wow. So, okay, claro, because you never send the matricula?
I have the matricula. I have everything. Because he never paid me off.
Oh, wow.
He's never paid me. So I've been going to court for like 7, 8 months, 9 months. Well, no, a year. Actually, we've been going to court for a year. After a year, I sued him for my money. And then what they'll do is they'll drop like $5,000 here and there for the money because it's a corporation. They have to pay back. It was a company car, right? It's not under my name. It's under the company. But at the end of the day, what do you call it? There's a car out there. There's a Volvo out there that they stole that's still under my name. They don't have a matricula. There's no insurance on it because I took the insurance. It was on the dealer and it was sold. So, of course, I took it off and they were supposed to put it. I don't know who they sold it to. I don't know anything. And I still have the title of this car.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, and I got scammed by a dealer. I got scammed by a dealer somebody I know knew. And the person who put me in contact with this person also owes me money and disappeared because they stole a commission.
Okay, so that's another scam, kind of?
Oh, well, in real estate, what happens in real estate, you guys know, because, we talked about the licensing, and obviously you guys know I'm against certain things in the licensing, but I'm not against licensing 100%. I think it's great. What happens in this here, when you are a real estate broker owner, there are no laws, and that's why, like now, my contract you've seen is like 10 pages, right? Because of all the every time something happens, I'm like, okay, Jesus, add another thing to the contract. So what happens is you have an agent that does a sale, and it's I'm suing somebody else actually right now because they owe me. It was like a $13,000 commission. They got paid half of it and took the whole thing, and they were trying to take the whole, but they haven't paid the rest of it yet because the guy hasn't paid the apartment or whatever. Anyway, so what they do is this: let's say there's a $6,000 commission, right? And obviously, you know, I'm the owner, you're the agent who sold it, you're on top of the stuff or whatever. The agent goes, gets the check, and just dips out, quits, takes the money, or I fired him, and sometimes we have closings afterwards. They'll go to the developer. Developer, even though it was done under a company, knows that one agent was there. They don't care. They'll pay anybody who comes in, right, with the factura, and then that person's like, I'm not giving you nothing. So now you have to fight for your half of the commission and sue them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't put a deal on there, and then you find out there was a deal, and then you have to chase them down. And it doesn't just happen to me. It happens a lot to the big companies, but they're making so much money when you're big. I'm small, so obviously I'm on top of, oh my God, $5,000 for me is a lot of money. But for the big companies, it happens to them. They just look at it as like, I think the way they do it, if they don't know, they don't know. They don't actively, try to go crazy over it because they just feel like, I guess it's just part of doing business, right? It's like it's like a damage control.
Shoplifter tax.
Correct. Like you have a big business, they're going to shoplift 5% or whatever, and that's your loss that you have on that. So that's another, it's just been nonstop, and I've seen so many different scams. I've seen so many different scams here over the years that you've got to really, 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 if something, there was a lady one time here, and again, she didn't use a broker. It was some guy who was like he rented cars. He had a car dealership, car rental / real estate.
Okay, that's like a multi-store.
And that's where she decided to invest, and of course lost like $10,000-$20,000 down payment.
It's just you have to be suspicious. Certain things just should give you red flags right off the bat.
And another thing I'm going to give you guys, another tip, right? Which I've seen this happen, and from the first time I remember when I bought my first apartments in Sosua, I saw this, the bar business, right? The nightlife business. Listen, my fellow Gringolandians, 99% of you guys are not built for this. And I'll explain to you why. Because this is, in the United States, it's different. In the United States, I know how it is. Like, you got to get your liquor license. You got to go, that's pretty legit, right? Unless you're like, mafia stuff, but that's other stuff, right? It's pretty legit. So you have it hard on that end of it. Here, anybody can open up a night spot. But here's what happened. I've seen people, I'll give you examples. They go into a regular Dominican town, right? And they open up with their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, it could be whatever, right? They open up like one of these little barcitos, colmaditos, right? And you do a good job. You invest in it. It's a nice little bar in the area, and music is going, and you got people coming in, and you're finally clicking. And all of a sudden, Coba starts coming, and they start closing you down for noise. They start taking your speakers. They start harassing you, and you're just like, but I'm not doing anything wrong. And they harass you so much that you get tired and you leave. And a week after you left, one of your neighbors owns the bar, and they have no problems. I tell you stories that people tell me because these are real stories that have happened to people that I know, right?
That makes sense. If you don't know the environment, you don't know how to move, you don't know what extra taxes you might have to pay.
When you're like, and again, if you're going to open up like a restaurant in like a little beach area where all the gringos have their stuff, all right, cool, that's different, right? But I've seen people come like, I'm going to open up a nightlife bar and I'm going to do this, and I've seen them fail. There was one guy in Puerto Plata who opened up on top of another one, right? And he had the girls there smoking a cigar and everything, and I was just like, I remember talking to some of my friends on the side, and I was like, 99.9999% failure rate of what he's doing. Of course he failed. Now he's in Colombia, and now he's somewhere else or whatever. Actually they just did a denuncia on him for skipping out on rent in Colombia, the guy, right? But I knew he was going to fail the business right off the bat, because when you get into certain businesses, they're just not for you. I had another guy come in, was like, one person asked me, I want to open up like camiones, like transport. I'm like, dude, there's a transport syndicate here. You're not coming in and you're not doing that, right? You're not doing that. You're going to get got. You know what I mean? You're going to lose all your money. And don't ask, please, for baby Jesus' sake, do not ask expat groups what they think about business. One of the most horrible things I've seen is, and I see this a lot, especially in the North Coast, people from the North Coast are like, yeah, I want to open up that restaurant over here. What do you guys think? And you could be like, I want to open up a kebab spot, let's just say, right? And people are like, oh my God, yeah, we need kebab spots. Go for it. Spend your money. And then they open and they go out of business because the demand is not there. If you look at certain parts here, right, and if they're businesses, restaurants, bars are constantly for sale, They're constantly trading hands. They're constantly going out of business. That should tell you something, right? There's not enough demand in that area.
So you have to do your market study and make sure that you're also familiar with the business that you want to do, because just because you know that people want to eat kebabs doesn't mean that you should have a food restaurant or that you have the time to have a food restaurant.
Exactly, because some of the, and I'll tell you guys, like when it comes to like the getting, I lost 80,000 on my first restaurant here.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was because my ex-wife, she was in charge of it, and it would do good when I was there. When I would go to the States, it would do bad. So it kind of was like, I got into something with somebody, and it wasn't for that person, right? So it just didn't work out. But I learned from that. And the important thing that I said, when I had my place, because I'm the way that I am, people would come because I was there. Dominican culture also is very like people go because they know the owner. Like, right? Like you could open up a nice place and people won't go.
Right.
But if you're not part of a community, right? Especially if you guys, those of you guys that are going to open up in like little beach enclaves, like if you're going to open up on like, Corrales, if you're going to open up right on the water in what do you call it, in Las Terrenas, it's a little different. But if I have a lot of guys, I'm going to go to Santo Domingo, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to open up something up. Bro, nobody knows you. Nobody knows you, so people won't come to that business because they don't know you. You don't have a rapport in the town with the people, and you're going to lose your money. Like my first bar here was with a partner of mine from here, and I did it in Santiago. We rocked it right from the beginning.
Because he was known in the community.
He was known, and I started hanging out when I was coming here, and I would meet the models, I would meet these people, I invited everybody to come over. So the initial part of it, other things happened later on, but the initial part of it went really well because we had a thing going, and my boy was super well known in Santiago. So it was like, it's his stuff or whatever,
That's half of the battle. Unless you have an amazing concept that nobody else has.
Exactly.
You need that.
Because that a lot of people here will get you, and I've also seen expats talk to locals, and they ask them like, what do you think about this business? And a lot of people here, listen, people when you want to do a business in a foreign country, the first thing everybody's going to tell you, do it, because they don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
And if there's a way they can profit from you doing, you want to open up a restaurant, you want to open up a bar, cool. Listen, I'm going to put you in touch with this guy, and I'm going to put you in touch with that guy, and that, and they're going to profit. Everybody's going to profit off of you. And then you're going to do it. And it's not, I've seen people here who were in the process of opening up like bar clubs or whatever in Punta Cana, and 3/4 of the way they just quit. They walked away from it because it's just that difficult. If you don't have the experience of doing it here and you're not built in the community, and people don't know you, they don't know who you are. Oh, that's Fulano's place. I'm going to go over there because it's Fulano, right?
I like him. He's fun. I'm going to go support him.
Even in nice places. I mean, think about this. How many restaurants and food stuff that we've seen here in the last 5-6 years that opened and closed? And you're like, wow, it was kind of nice, but it closed for no reason.
So many and so fast. Like that one spot in the food hall, the Salvadoran place that was open for a week.
Oh, the Papusa place.
The Pupusa place, yeah.
It's still closed?
It never reopened.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, grand opening, grand closing.
Exactly. 1 week.
Because, sometimes they take the advice of people and they, you can't take people's advice here. You can't take people's advice on what, you got to do your time and spend time here. If you're going to come here and you want to do a business, you want to see how things are, spend time, and you almost have to wait for bad things to happen to you so you can get out of those things and you can figure out how things are. And then you're ready to do whatever you want to do here. Because I've seen people se meten pila de vaina, and then all of a sudden they get caught up in scams. They get, because it's so easy. One of the great things about here, and a lot of people come here in this country, is because the lack of law or regulation, meaning like you don't need a liquor license, you don't need a license to this, for that. In compared to, North America, everything's so much easier, right? So it's very easy to get into something. But if you don't come here and figure things out first, learn some of the language, learn how to talk to people, you should be able to talk to people. One of the biggest problems that I hate, people that get scammed all the time, are the ones that have somebody like their assistant translating for them. Like they find a local that you've seen this before, right? Because I know somebody there was a lady who they try to get her at the gas station here, right? So she goes to the gas station. There was something like, I don't know, it was like something simple in the car, like she just needed fluid or something like that, right? And they're like, oh, give me $100. And she was like, what? And they were like, yeah, $100. And they got into a big argument, whatever. It wasn't worth more than $5 what they did, right? And then she in the group, she's like, well, maybe what do you call it? I should just hire a person to be my full-time person with me. I was like, do you know how much somebody like that good would cost? They would cost you at least $2,000, $2,500 a month. Because if you're gonna find somebody for $1,000 a month, $700 a month, it's not enough money for El Tigre,
Right.
to be with you 24/7, and they're going to just find a way to get you out of everything. So now you've got your right hand person is going to be trying to scam you more than everybody else. He'll be setting you up for the scams as you go along to make money off of you.
To make a little bit of the top.
Yeah.
Because and that's another thing. People get scammed often because they don't ask for, like that lady. They don't ask for prices up front.
And you got to get stuff in writing too. I mean, you got to get stuff in writing. You got to get stuff in writing, because if it's not in writing, it's going to be like, no, I told you this, then I told you that, and then next thing you know. But the other, and then they threaten to sue you to do all this stuff. And if you don't know how things work here, people do get scared. People get nervous, and people get scared all the time.
They get scared enough to lose 700,000 Canadian dollars.
When I saw that, I was like, wow.
That's wild.
Right. And they got him good, because think about this. You went out with some girl from, the bar, and now she's telling you she's pregnant. You're trying to get out of it as a guy. You're trying to get out of it as, you're like, damn, bro, what happened?
It's a slippery road, right? The more you give, the more they get you for.
But that's what it is, because it's so easy to get into stuff here, right? That once you find yourself in the, como se dice, in the trap, right?
Right, between the spade and the wall.
And then it just starts to spiral out of control. So the best thing you could do is remove yourself away from it, ignore, block everybody, and just let whatever be is going to be.
Correct. Be suspicious always. Take everything with a grain of salt. Take a moment to think. And if you didn't record, that's something I tell people all the time. If you did not ask for a link, don't click it. The bank is not going to send you something out of nowhere for you to click if you didn't ask for it.
I mean, I'm surprised on how bad it is, especially like on Facebook. Number one, I reported this profile. I even I put up the denuncia. I did the screenshots of, and I did multiple reports. Nothing. And I get, because I run business profiles, right? So I get every single day, I get these official looking messages, your profile, and they even post it as comments on my real estate ads, right? And right? They're like, oh yeah, we're going to close down your profile. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. If you don't click on this and respond, then do this. I can't understand how companies like Facebook, where they have so much of our personal information, don't protect you. Like, it's so hard to get somebody to get something removed that's a scam.
It should be a lot easier for them to get them than for the scammers to get us.
And that would happen in the U.S. and would affect the rest of the world. There should be live, I mean, the trillions of dollars that they make off of this, right? There should be a live person to review it. Because the one thing that's weird with social media, it's like, I shake, because you can shake to do a report, and it takes a screenshot of where the guy is like, resolve it or whatever. And I'm like, hey, look, this is where I'm getting extorted here, blah, blah, blah. And you send them that, and they don't remove the comment. But I can see something on your page,
Right.
repost it, and then get my profile blocked from posting for 24 to 48 hours because I posted something inappropriate, but I posted something that you have live on your page.
It's very weird, but I will send you a documentary and then you can send it to your followers. But Facebook does have live moderators. It's just that they have so many issues on Facebook that their least of their problems are those scammers. But that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
The content on it.
Right, because I mean, you think about it, if it's not terrorism, if it's not like, a sex crime, they don't care.
Yeah, like, difficult things like that, yeah.
Right, because I saw that there's like a link for that. If like something, like somebody's sharing nude photos of you or whatever,
Right,
then there's
kids with terrorism.
there's a page, there's a special thing for that. But if you're just getting extorted you by yourself, you're on your own.
You're on your own.
Yep. And then again, I went and I filed the report. I filed the report so people can see I filed the report. And they were like, if you didn't pay money, what's not much we can do.
And that's so sad. Because there will be other people, not everybody is Mario, not everybody has a little bit of, I don't want to say common sense, but not being vulnerable and being suspicious. Most people, or a lot of people, will just deposit them the 5,000 pesos, or they will just buy the calling card, which is another scam.
Oh shit! But I didn't know that.
Yeah, like calling card scams. They get the name of your family. It's easier now with social media, but back when I was young, they would like call you and get information from you, like, oh, your aunt's sick. Oh, which aunt? Maria. Oh, sí, Maria. And then like.
You know what?
Yeah.
Now that you said that, I was in Panama. And I'm in Panama, and I'm in the back seat, and my partner Jesus is in the front, and we're hanging out with his Panamanian homeboy, and he gets a call that his mother, something happened to his mom, and blah, 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 and he caught it. He was like, wait. And we're like, yo, you all right, man? You all right? He's like, no, hold up. He pulls the car over, hangs up the phone, and calls his cousin, yo, what's up with mom? And they're like, what do you mean, nothing? They're like, no, somebody just called me right now and said that this is what happened. I need to send something or whatever the case may be. And this was in Panama, yeah.
And where he had the moment to be like, okay, wait, hold on. If something was really happening, I should be able to get in touch with her. And why would somebody need a calling card?
Exactly, right. And I see that in like those, even in the Panama Compra-Venta groups, and I see it here. Like, I'll give a McDonald's meal, or I'll give this to anybody, or if you want to find out about more of this, comment, hey, and I'll send you a PM, and people are gullible. Hey, 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 hey. And then they send you a link, you click on it, and boom.
People
Te
are
meten en-
gullible. The prospect of something free or to make a ton of money, like those crypto scams and blockchains and all that, like the prospect to make a lot of money just kind of blinds you to the reality that that's not how it works.
So, with that being said, guys, remember, if it's too good to be true, it's a scam. And if you get hit by one of these scammers like I did, and they try to extort you, even if you have a business, if you don't have a business, just ignore, block, and that's it. Doesn't matter if they hit you up on WhatsApp, everywhere, block, 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 don't even respond. But if you have a business, so they don't hurt your business, what you do is do the same thing I do. I recommend that, right? Just put it out there like, look, I'm being extorted by this person. Here's the fake profile. This is what it is, and that's that. So, if you guys have any questions, you guys can always reach out to me, MarioFamaRD.com. I have the website up there. I have my WhatsApp. You guys can reach out. Thank you, Paola, for being on the show again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love talking about scams, so this was right up my alley.
Thank you, thank you. And I want to say thank you again to our sponsors who've been sponsoring our show, Samana Group. And there you go, Samana Group. Amazing projects in Samana and Gold Reef Apartments, Punta Cana and Playa Nueva Romana. See you guys in 2 and 2. Hi everybody, it's your boy Mario Fama RD, aka Yo soy blanco, pero no soy banco. And yes, it's time. We're finally launching the Mario Fama RD podcast. Now, what's going to be different about this podcast? Well, we're going to take our rose-colored glasses off. We're going to put our real glasses on. And we're going to talk about the hard-hitting subjects that nobody talks about, being an expat here in the Dominican Republic and in Latin America in general. We're going to talk about law. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about lifestyles, and everything the Dominican Republic has to offer. The good, the bad, the ugly. Kind of like the Clint Eastwood spaghetti western, but here in the Dominican Republic. If you have any questions, we'll answer them for you. We're going to talk about everything that relates to being an expat, not just in Punta Cana, but Santo Domingo, Santiago, the North Coast, the East Coast, West Side, even the West Coast, everywhere. And if you want to be a patrocinador and have your logos up here and sponsor us, then let me know.
Atención mujeres de Verón Punta Cana. Descubre Sailú, tu tienda de maquillajes, cosméticos y productos de cuidado personal, donde la obra de arte eres tú. En Sailú podrás probar todos nuestros productos con testers totalmente gratis. Solo trabajamos con productos originales para garantizar la mejor calidad. Visítanos en Plaza Canatown, local 102, Avenida Barceló. Sailú, administrado por su servidora Yorbelis Paredes. Te esperamos para que te veas y te sientas increíble.
Atención, camioneros y empresas de vehículos. Repuestos a su alcance, fabricación de mangueras hidráulicas, baterías, lubricantes, accesorios y un extenso inventario para cubrir las necesidades de su unidad de transporte. Ángel Ramírez Truck Parts, Avenida Barceló, Plaza Canatown, cerca del cruce del Ayuntamiento de Verón. 809-455-3265 y 829-928-0498. Ángel Ramírez Truck Parts.